Hey, I'm Jay Kumar, the BassBlaster, and this is your Seafoam Top 10 Cool Things from ICAST. Let's start off with number 10, Great Lakes Finesse. That company came hot out of the gate last year, and now it's even hotter. This hot. Now their stuff is geared to pressured smallmouths in clear water, but for sure, it can catch spotted bass and largemouths too. Their new 2 3/4 inch hover minnow, which is already available, is way cool because it has a little cupped belly. That makes it fall slower and gives it a different action on the drop. And word is when you pause it, it rotates as it falls and ends up facing the fish. Pretty cool little deal. Number 9. Man, look at these things.
Whoa.
That's only one color of the new Berkeley Power Bait Drip Minnow, and they look even more real in person. Power Bait colors have come a long way, man. The bottom line for these baits is that they look absolutely real, and that bulb or drip tail on the back is made to subtly thump. Lots of ways you can fish it: Damiki rig, hover rig, drop shot, you know the drill. Plus they're already power bait, so you know you get a good scent. They'll come in 3, 4, and 5 inches and should be available at the end of this year. And Berkeley also has a version with a little paddle tail type thing on the back called the Drip Swimmer. Gotta get some, man. Number 8.
Clean up in aisle 3.
Who's gonna do that cleanup? The janitor. Great name for what might be the sleeper bait in the new line of Jacob Wheeler designed Rapala Crush City soft plastics. Now Jacob and his bud Dustin Connell both outed this bait at the semi-recent Chowan River, North Carolina MLF Bass Pro Tour event, where they both finished in the top 5 drop shotting it and also fishing a jerkbait. But it hangs absolutely perfect for a Nico rig, and you can also, of course, shaky head it too. Now, word is those ribs on the tail make that tail look fatter than it really is, which means it's pretty thin and has a lot of action as a result. Cool deal, and it comes in purple. Number 7.
Max Power, he's the man whose name you'd love to touch.
I love Max Power, but I'm talking about the new Abu Garcia Max spinning reels. Now I gotta shout out these reels for 2 reasons. One is because of forward-facing sonar, we're seeing more spinning gear used in bass fishing than ever before. So we need good spinning stuff that isn't also high dollar. And that's the second reason why these reels make my list. They start at $40. That's for the Max X reel. The SX is $60, the Max Pro is $80, and the Max Elite is $100. You can even get a Max Elite spinning combo for just $120. All those reels share features with the top-of-the-line high-dollar Abu Garcia Xenon spinning reels, but of course don't have all the same materials and features. Now, who makes stuff better and cheaper? Abu Garcia, I guess. For the same reason, I got a quick shout out their new redesigned Veritas rods. Their actions now match the very good top-of-the-line Abu Garcia Fantasista X rods, and the Veritas rods are also cheaper than they were before. Talking about $100 retail, about $50 less than they had been. Very cool, all should be available pretty soon. Number 6.
Why you hit so hard?
Why does the new Fish Lab BBZ hard swim bait do that? These 2 guys. That's bait designer Bill Siementel and bait engineer and painter Hide Iwasaki. Now both work for Okuma's bait brand Fish Lab. They designed and rolled out what I think is a real good swim bait, jointed hard swim bait. Now I'm not a swim bait expert by any means, but this one seems real user friendly. It casts well and it swims well and looks good at any speed. And when you stop it and throw it a little slack, it does a 90 to 180. But a big reason I thought this bait was so cool is that when you pause it and it begins to slowly sink, it starts to roll over from the top, just like a dying baitfish would. I hope you can see that in that video. It's real subtle and cool. Now, Bill and Hide explain that it's because while most swim baits are keel weighted, they move the weight up in the head so it changes the center of gravity. or something like that. Very cool. It'll have all the major colors, and get this, it will retail for just $17.99 for the 4.5 inch and $19.99 for the 6 inch. That's crazy cheap for swim baits. On that note, I also got to shout out the new 6 inch Bucca Trick Shad that will retail for just $40. Get your swim baits on. Number 5.
That is a great idea. Let's do it.
Well, that's about the story of these Cast King bait capsules with a K. It went down like this. Cast King president Al Noraker got this idea when his dog got hooked on a treble hook in his boat. He took the idea to the fellas, they engineered it, and voila, there it is. Now, how great would it be not to have those treble hooks flopping all over the place in your car, in your rod box, on your deck, whatever. They're pretty much self-explanatory, but here's a few quick points on them. Now, it has holes in it so your baits can air dry, and there's a hole in the front of it where your line comes in and out of that won't fray the line. It also has a molded in hook at the end so it'll stay put wherever you want to latch it on the rod. Man, it's one of the most practical things I've seen in a real head slapper. Like, why didn't I think of that? It's already sold out on the Cast King site, so I guess we're all waiting for more to be in stock. Number 4. The kings of fun topwater baits lunker hunt have done it again with this deal, the Finesse mouse. Right now, the middle size, the 1/2 ounce, is the only one available, but the 3/8 and the 3/4 are coming soon. Now, you might be thinking, big deal, it's a frog that looks like a mouse. Well, yes and no. It is sort of frog-shaped, even though it has a tail instead of legs. But I fished it a little at the ICAST pond, and I have to tell you, the big difference for me is that it's a little heavier, or quite a bit heavier than most frogs. And it gets a little more heavy as that fur gets wet. So it casts a mile. I assume it'll sit lower in mats. And when you walk it, it doesn't go forward as much as a frog would, which I think is key because it stays in that strike zone longer. Remember to throw a little slack in there when you're walking it. Number 3. Okay, that's a flamethrower, not a flashpoint, but hey, it looks cool. Here's the new Booya flashpoint jerkbait. Right away, you can see that metal blade on the head. That gets picked up big time by forward-facing sonar, and it also flashes, meaning, reflects light, which should help bass zero in on the head of that bait. Other than that, it's designed to cut left and right more than come forward, and it does a few more cool things. Like you can cast it real far, and when you reel it fast, it tracks straight, so you can reel it up to where the fish are accurately and fast.
No, that is interesting.
Yes, it is. It's also a tournament grade bait with real good BKK trebles. Number 2. Okay, you know what a chatterbait is, and I assume you know that the Z-Man Evergreen chatterbait jackhammer is by far the best chatterbait bladed jig ever made, bar none. Well, Z-Man just introduced the new chatterbait Tungsten Evo Elite, I think it is. And some Z-Man pros are saying it is even better than the jackhammer. Why? Well, you could say that tungsten is way harder than lead, so the bait will hit harder and make a different sound. You also could say that the head is smaller, so it has a different action. You could say more stuff, and all of it would be true, but the guy who has maybe fished and gotten addicted to the jackhammer more than anyone, Arkansas pro Stephen Browning, told me it actually catches them better than the jackhammer. I was like,
oh, okay. Oh, you crazy.
Browning for sure is crazy, but if this bait turns out to be the best of the best, I gotta give it this. The best rock tune of all time, man. We miss you, Ed. You're number 1. Ah, yes, not one forward-facing sonar deal so far until now. And it's number 1.
Ay, caramba!
For sure, there was a ton of forward-facing sonar stuff at the ICAST show. Jig heads, minnows, rod reels, line. But nothing really new on the electronics front except this, the Laurance Eagle Eye package. Why is it a big deal? Because you get forward-facing sonar on a 9-inch screen with a transducer for just $1,000. Yes, that's still a lot of coin, but it's way less than forward-facing sonar has cost up till now. Now, Eagle Eye, of course, is a little less capable than Laurance's full-blown Active Target 2 system, for technical reasons I won't get into, but are reflected in that price point. But you can still have that live sonar and see your bait out front to 80 feet. And you also have a down mode if you want to chase specks. Now, if you don't like forward-facing sonar, before you get your skirt in a twist, consider this fact. Several pros who are involved in high school fishing have told me that they have had families interested in tournament bass fishing, and the kids told their parents that if they couldn't get forward-facing sonar, meaning if they couldn't afford it, they wouldn't even try to compete. Not good. So while the Eagle Eye package won't do anything for guys who aren't into forward-facing sonar and don't want to fish that way, if it stops some folks from running for the exits, great. Well, that's my top 10 from ICAST. I hope you dug it. Thank you for watching. Thank you, Seafoam. Go to BassBlaster.com or .rocks to sign up for the juicy BassBlaster juice-filled bass fishing juice email. See you next week. God bless you.